away, battling back on the inside. It's Brave Contender lifting under the vigour of Parnham though, and he'll just win.
Outside as well as Fighting Faith, but Courting Verity broke clear near the line, and Courting Verity defends tactical.
From the back, but it's Fake Love with 100 metres to go. Hands and heels well clear. This is a beautiful debut. It's Fake Love easily.
Now it's Pelter in front of Prime Star, the outside. Pelter in front from Prime Star, Jet Propulsion, and Pelter sees it out.
G'day punters, welcome to the deep dive. We're going to be looking at the entire meeting basically at Caulfield. There's a heap of data and performances to run through there. We'll then head up to Queensland, get Curly's thoughts and see if he's actually recovered from the weekend, and we'll touch base with WA because the star over there in the making has just continued to improve. So we'll start at Caulfield. William Pike was probably the headline act on the day because he's just reeled off 4. But it'll be interesting to get your thoughts in terms of how you thought he rode. I guess you've been probably critical more than anyone over the last couple of weeks as to whether or not he's been riding that well in Victoria. Just run us through how you thought he performed there on Saturday.
All right. He has been riding poorly and making some poor tactical decisions. He's riding Old Kirk. I was also trying to reverse Moz him because Pete and I had a good long range bet at Old Kirk at like $13. So we were hoping and praying, and then I was worried he sort of got his good rides out early and everyone was starting to crow him a bit. So he still has to get Old Kirk home, stay calm. I thought he was pretty lucky on dirty work. Like got a pair further back than he needed to. That horse could have settled almost on speed. Looked gone on the corner. Arcadia Queen, like, whilst I'm bagging him, I tipped it pretty hard on Thursday night. I thought he doesn't have to do much thinking on that horse. There's like 2 horses that can win that race, maybe Humidor. He's just got to sit near it and see if it's good enough. There wasn't sort of a tactical ride for anyone in that race. I thought Superstorm ride was average, but that horse just like, I don't think the ride was bad. I think it was average. Like, there's not many options with that horse. Every time I review a meeting, Superstorm comes up as like one of the horses to follow for sure. It is again. The Old Kirk ride was fucking elite, outstanding riding, and won the horse the race because ASAR went enormous, and probably by the time they sort of jumped was a bigger result for me. And us. So hitting the line sort of was happy either way, but I would have preferred ASAR just. Like he rode one yesterday at Cranbourne, and it was like 4 wide the trip. So he can ride well, but he can also hang him out to dry at the same time. What do you think, Pete? Like, I'm not saying he's awful, but I don't think he's the top echelon of Victorian riders still.
I think he's got a very specific riding style where if you allow him to just ride off feel, horses that settle off speed, sort of a bit like Tommy Berry in my opinion. You don't really want to be putting on horses forward of midfield or up front and trying to dictate and try and tactically outperform other jockeys. I think he's much better just being given like, here's your horse, you know it's good, ride off your instinct and find the gaps and get moving. And it probably was the first time we've seen a Caulfield track of late which really played particularly even, and it was much more in terms of the better horses were winning. If you had the right horse in the right position, you pretty much got the job done.
The even track at Caulfield suited Willie Pike the way he rides. The track at Caulfield raced outstanding, but I think everyone just needs to calm down. Like, Windstorm was $1.70. Arcadia Queen was going to run first or second. Old Kirk was a favourite. Dirty Work was favourite. Like, he did his job, and good on him. Look, whilst we were hard on him, that's my opinion. I had Windstorm on top. I had Dirty Work on top. I tipped him back to Arcadia Queen. I launched at Old Kirk, and I even backed Superstorm. So whilst I'm bagging the bloke, I still had the prices. Half the time was with him on Saturday.
Josh, did you have any thoughts in the meeting in terms of one of his rides that you thought was better than the others?
Well, definitely not Superstorm. I thought he got too far back, but that's the horse's running style. You're not going to change your horse and ride it upside down. I thought what he did with Arcadia Queen was brilliant. I think the ride on that was like A1 sort of stuff. Like, he followed Ollie. He was on his back the whole way in, let him tow him into it. Sort of what Ollie does to a lot of jockeys, sort of at like Moonee Valley, where he sort of just gets it going on the bend, and you see him just towing in around sort of the between the 400 and the 200, and just gets like a lot of momentum into it. What he did with Arcadia Queen was super. The horse deserves the merit. Russian Camelot just wasn't up to it. Don't know if it, I wouldn't be potting it off just that one run, but I thought that was a super ride. I've just had a look at the numbers as well. Like, he's not for his time in Victoria, he's winning about 16%. The market says basically that he should be winning at around that rate. So you can't really say he's riding poor. He's not riding below market expectation. Maybe our perceived expectations that he rides a lot of winners, but there's a lot of class. There's class horses here in Victoria, all but maybe Twitter agree with that. But
yeah, but he has
there's still
four winners on Saturday to get his pot to the square.
Yeah, and I think Pete said this
recently biased.
Yeah, a bit of I think a couple of shows back, Pete actually said that these are grand final trainers. They're all set for something. Wasn't that right, Pete?
Yeah, they will have improvement to come with all their horses going forward. I think Windstorm's probably the one. It's still, to me, physically, he looked completely ripped on the weekend, but he still hasn't quite finished developing, I think. He's still got a bit more improvement to come, and I don't think it'll be this prep, though. I think it'll be next prep. Just
on that race, there's not many horses in that race, so .com did a really good job of the mounting yard there. And I got myself into a headspace where I wanted to bet in the race, but obviously I don't want to take $1.70. I sort of marked it like $2, $2.10. So then I started looking around, which was a mistake in hindsight anyway. But then when you saw it, you're like, we can't be betting against this thing.
Yeah.
It's a beast. And it
proper beast.
It looked like Ben Cousins before you knew he was like off the rails. Like, just ripped Adonis-like rig, ready to roll, deliver.
Yeah.
Big fourth quarter gut running. And that's what it did.
Yeah. We'll finish it off on the Caulfield Stakes. Obviously, the slower they went, and they've gone 5 lengths slow for the class here, the more it throws up the potential that Russian Camelot's going to get done. But Ollie probably didn't really have any other option, did he? Unless he decided he was just going to lead at a tempo that suited his horse. But again, obviously not the grand final for Russian Camelot. Is that how you guys saw it? I'll start with you, Dicko.
Yeah. I huge error here not to capitalise on this a lot more. We nailed this race on Thursday night. Ollie's not going to set the race alight and lead on this thing that's favourite for a Cox Plate and is aimed at a Melbourne Cup as well. This is just another stepping stone towards the grand finals. So the race set up to be like a sit and sprint. And when the track was firmer, it's going to suit Arcadia Queen even more, who's getting the bar plates off. I've seen a little bit of narrative on Twitter saying that Russian Camelot's running a new peak figure. That's just wrong. It has not. It's gone backwards by 5 or 7 lengths or something. We've learnt nothing from this race other than that Arcadia Queen on a good track with the bar plates off with a good ride is a very, very good horse. I'd be strongly with Russian Camelot to turn the tables in a Cox Plate on any surface, as long as there's 10 plus horses in the race. I think he has built a tactical tick that Arcadia Queen doesn't have. He could draw car park at the Valley and jump and sit and go and lead it if he had to. She can't do that yet. So I'd have advantage Russian Camelot, but you didn't learn anything from that. And like we did on Thursday night, when we get the Cox Plate, if they both go there, we'll do the map, we'll figure out the race and go, at the prices is what we think.
Yep. Josh, are you taking anything out of the performance of the top two here?
Think, Super Merit, it's turned it back around. Market for me said that Arcadia Queen was going to do this interestingly, a couple starts back. It's finally done what the market was sort of intending, it's saying. And the market's come off it more with a 7.1 SP, which is super. I love that. I don't know, the horse looks like it could even get further, but obviously it was a sit and sprint though, so sort of like Dicko touched upon, Russian Camelot wasn't suited. I thought Russian Camelot sort of didn't settle as well as it usually does as well.
It makes
in
sense,
the run.
Josh. This is the second slowest race on the day, like all average benchmarks to the 600. There was an unraced 2-year-old race, and it's the slowest race of the day by a mile by the class benchmarks.
Yeah,
like you just can't do anything with this race other than the two horses across the line. First and second are probably the two strongest horses in the race. But if you're a Humidor man or girl, 100%. You can make a case for it too. Oh, if they went quicker, which they were probably will in a Cox Plate, much better chance.
Yeah, if that'd be like a great story if that was the run of place in the Cox Plate. Like that's just incredible to get that back on track. 8-year-old, just a great training effort.
Yeah, I think you've just got to be careful with any race that Galo Chop is mapped to lead. That horse just doesn't roll along at fast tempos, or at least it hasn't done since 2018. So anytime you see that horse just dictating a race, it's dead set walk. And so, yeah, it was a great race to bet into in run, actually. Arcadia Queen just stalking the whole way. It was, outstanding.
It was like obviously you're 5 seconds behind at least on the TV, and if you're babysitting your kid watching Swan Hill, you're about 15 seconds behind on KO. FYI, punters. Didn't that thing drift savagely yesterday, but thank fuck it won. I just kept pressing.
Gotta love Jimmy.
Gotta love Jimmy. Just press.
Yeah.
Fat. Did, though, with the fatherhood duties, bet into, I believe it was the last race, and because I was being a good man and a good father, miss, I believe, Curly. Curly just drained one from halfway. So, flat about that. Anyway, I forgot what I was talking.
Yeah, we'll get to Curls because that was we'll get back to Caulfield, but we'll get to Curly in a sec. But Old Kirk's performance in the Caulfield Guineas, and Dicko, you alluded to it before, but Pike's ability to navigate around Tagaloa, who was going backwards and obviously had an issue in the run, but his ability to get the horse and keep it with some level of momentum was probably just, there's no other word for it, it was just outstanding, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was on the phone to the young bearded man, bottom right of my screen, Josh KCYCPPC, and talking about doing a bit of pricing stuff, punters. And he was on Tagaloa and he was off the bit, but that's sort of it. So that gives more merit, in my opinion, to Pike's ride. Because it wouldn't have looked straight away like that horse was gone because it's Tagaloa, and he would know that. But I think the jump and put it forward enough was sort of half the job done for him. He just had to navigate his way through, which he did really well, and it was a harder job than it needed to be because of Tagaloa. But God bless him. God bless you. God bless the Hawks camp. God bless you, Peter, for identifying the horse nice and early. ASAR, stiff, big run.
Mm-hmm.
What about King's Legacy? Curls might even have an opinion here. I was hard against it. Marked it huge price. But there's so many people stumping up for it. It's half backed. I was really grey before it jumped. Didn't know what to do. What do we do with that horse? It still hasn't run a figure.
I think
been well enough exposed now in good enough races to put a figure on the board.
Yeah.
Like you say, it hasn't done it. Does it say more about the horses or about, where those horses were at that was beating up on last prep, later in the prep, Glenn Fiddick and Prague, in those group ones, where they're at? I don't know.
Yeah, and it won the Sires as a $20 shot as well, and that was an awful race. And then it came out and won an awful Champagne Stakes. They're both really slow run races. They were just pretend group ones, really.
Yeah, well, off the benchmark figures, they are. They're complete mythical group ones, which really let you bet into this race with confidence. Yeah. The Melbourne form really stood up on Saturday. Even Old Kirk, that's a lot of Melbourne form there. That was the biggest factor for me. Robert stamping that horse was that it had handled the Melbourne way and started in Melbourne, as opposed to a Hungry Heart or a Mahunga or whatever.
Those runs that used to have at Flemington, stiff not to win that the second run it had, the Group 2
Mate, I still remember sitting on the third level there of the P&O ship cruise, and young Josh just screaming out, "Oh, Kirk! Oh, Kirk! Oh, Kirk!" We're just pressing.
Starting through. I think it did this. It was the same run in both runs. Just like it was just a dead set miler. Like just absolutely loving the line. But yeah, it was always going to get the mile, and yeah, it did it. It was super. I thought it was a pretty good ride as well from Pike to, like you said, put it where it was. It could have got so much further back.
Yeah.
But obviously the mile suited to, sit a bit further forward. But like you said, King's Legacy and Moonga. Like for me, those two, Moonga's the one that was the better run, obviously, of the race. King's Legacy, I think the stable was super bullish on it too.
Someone must have been.
But I couldn't see it. I guess it had tied in form lines with Old Kirk, and that's probably what they tied up. But yeah, like you said, we don't know much of that form out of those races, whereas Ollie Kirk's done that. And Trump sort of, proved itself last week against North Pacific and things like that, or the other week.
If Ollie Kirk went to a Cox Plate, do you think it's a blowout chance as a 3-year-old?
Definitely hit the line. Like
4 figures is Cox Plateable.
Yeah.
And it'd have no weight, but it's out to the paddock for sure.
Colts.
Well, it may not race again.
Yeah, that's just racing at the moment. It's just a real shame. Someone on Twitter said that on the weekend. I think I saw that racing's just all about. That's why the game's gone. You're just selling these things to sell a pony at the end of the day, aren't you?
Yep.
Can't beat them, join them.
Yep. We'll drop back to 1,000 guineas. Hungry Heart, can we just confirm the horse is a cat? I mean, they've gone very fast here, and it's had to back up off 7 days, but Montefilia did the same and, destroyed them in the Spring Champion Stakes, and Hungry Heart's turned up here and SP'd rock solid.
Curly, you're the sort of big dog layer here. Thoughts?
Oh. I was talked into this horse Thursday night. 7-day blinker on, voila.
It's not boxes.
I don't know how you factor this into your databases, but like, how many lengths do you take off for the colours?
At least 47.
No, I was being facetious there. Of course, I don't factor that in. No, you're right. That like the SP was there. It looked like looked like one of those perfect Wallace setups with the blinkers on for the grand final, and yeah.
Well, we got it wrong on Thursday night result wise, but fuck the market. Like we saw the race as most of the big players did. This thing like hemorrhaged big time, and then I missed the winner, which was a mistake. I regret, but we're on Agreeable, Vangelic, and Aidensfield. I think top ahead. In run, you just sort of fuck Hungry Hearts. Like it had the same sort of spot as Old Kirk, 30 minutes later. So
it's got exposed, I suppose, with the tempo, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
they've all had to improve their figures here to win this race, and credit to the human tripod, Michael Walker. Like fearless riding here, fearless. Like this is a big race. This is a bloke who's under a lot of pressure. Like had the Exelman drama at Sale. Like to take off when he did, like huge set of pills on him. Big ride.
Yeah, it was super right. When they're just like, you just see he's got such a unique. Oh, that's what I love about him, because you can just pick him out just with his like little punch, little back, and he's just swinging on this thing at the like 400, 600. Like he's got a lot of pony here, and then you see like horses like Instant Celebrity. I reckon if it was genuine, this is the sort of pace that it needs to win, and Agreeable as well. Agreeable's gone super as well, but like Instant should be getting over the top of him with that sort of a pace. And I was hard against it pre-race just because I just don't like these horses at all, unless it's going to be like Flemington or something where it's going to get every possible chance to let down. And yeah, it was just Odium just improved. Personal has gone super as well. But like you said, Hungry Heart, I reckon it sat in the like sort of A1 spot, bar it being on the fence. Probably like it should have deserved, if it was genuine, I thought it would have just got over the top of him as well. Like sort of deserved to, like instant celebrity, given the pace. But yeah, like Odium was super. It was like genuine time and margins to that win.
Well, like if we deep dive a little bit further into Hungry Heart, so it went 7.6 above the all average to the 600 in the really fast run Randwick race, the Golden, what's it called? Flight Stakes, which looking back, just FYI, Old Kirk into Young Whirler to win the Derby. I'll be gone for about 2 or 3 months. You won't see me. But Hungry Heart was also in a couple of them, a dirty little thing. Anyway, 7.6 in the flight. It went 10.4 on Saturday. Even though it was like midfield, this is a much harder run race. And it's exposed it. It's run a comparable figure overall of an 8.5 versus 9.8. So I think it sort of found its mark. And maybe just credit to Rob Scurry, who is just flying. But he completely penned this horse before the flight. And then on the review show in Sydney last week, he just called it a cat. Like, doesn't like it at all on type. Blah, blah, blah. Complete pen. Maybe its level is just below that double figure mark. And there's been a bunch of them here. Even Instant Celebrity, Josh, that's gone from a 6.1, a flat 7 winning the lead-up race. It's still improved 4 lengths and run 11 here. Just Odium's just jumped out of the ground.
Yeah, it's just natural improver, I guess. That's what the thing is with these 3-year-olds with ratings, and most of the time you just got to consider that into it. Who's going to be improving?
All right. Well, peak figure on the day, no surprises in the Toorak handicap. It was a proper race. They've gone fast tempo up front. J Carr, just absolutely airborne. Dickens, Mr. Quickie. I'm half surprised you didn't have something on, because this is one of your horses. You always seem to find an angle for Mr. Quickie.
Well, you all get it. I'm sure most people watching get it. We're just constant, like every day you get up to perform kind of thing, you know. And I've done a good job on Saturday, and I felt really good about myself after Old Kirk. You know, found the 2-year-old winner. We're winning. Day's done. We're going to win. And like at the 700, when they jumped on the helicopter shot, I saw this horse, and I would have backed it if I was betting in run, because it was more intent. Because it always parades outstanding. It is a fucking panther and a beast. And then at like the 7,600, it was winning. And I just felt sick and then ashamed and naughty, dirty, you know, like what a good horse, what a performance. I thought this was maybe ride of the day, but not from J. Carr, from Craig Williams. His ride on Buffalo River was outstanding.
Just use the asset of the horse.
Yeah, just got them all chasing, unlike what I did yesterday in the Cranbourne Cup. But Buffalo River ride, outstanding. What was that thing called yesterday that we took $6 about that started $3.70 on the fair?
Dr. Drill.
Dr. fucking Drill. Jesus Christ.
Dr. Drill. Sounds like what you needed afterwards. Just someone just through the head. Josh, huge race, big figures everywhere. Angles, data-wise, something to follow?
Before Josh starts, just also all of us, what has Elton and Zara done here with Age of Chivalry? Like, big fan of this horse, love him. Perfect PR run in the lead-up race. I think it's Sir Rupert Clark. Weak and offered very little. Cast here, absolutely cast, and improved by 4+ lengths. Might have been run a race. Like, what are we doing?
It was at Monash University on the bend sort of a thing. It was like, fucking hell. I couldn't find some cover for it. Or just let it lead like it probably should. Yeah, huge run. I thought Sosi Bomb was super. Rajkovic keeps hitting the line well. Probably needs a wet track, Rajkovic, maybe. I don't know. I think it likes Flemington and a wet track for me. I'm Superman, ordinary. I thought questionable why they were taking. When this won first up at Caulfield, which was over maybe 1,200, I I thought like it'd stay around that distance. I didn't think it was like a mile horse. But yeah, interesting. Akana Star went pretty big at big odds. It was a funny race though. Like I thought, when I did the form, I thought Junipal and Buffalo River were like just like lengths above them, and I got it completely wrong. But yeah, it was a race I didn't have much investment in because I just couldn't fathom to take the price on the two. Just because I thought, something possibly could go wrong. Superstorm gone super again. I'll be keeping following that. I'd probably run. I imagine a run Flemington in the Kennedy Mile. I'd imagine. Is that probably right, Pete?
Why don't we just tune into RSN tomorrow? Because we'll text Gareth tomorrow morning and ask him to ask Bob about Superstorm and that.
I have a question on Sosie Bond for you guys. I hear this every week that this horse has gone good. Is it like a 12? Like, serious, is it a 1,200-1,400 metre horse and just not good enough at that level stepping up in trip?
That's my opinion, yeah.
Probably run it in weaker. I guess you're getting prize money for it, but you could run it in weaker grades.
It's consistently running, like its last 5 starts, 10.7, 12, 7.3, but placed, 9.4, and now 13.2. Like, if you look across all these horses, the winner, all double figures, and maybe Sir Coney. They're the 3 most consistent horses out of that race. Like he's gone from being a myth to just consistently running good races. He's drawing awkwardly and sort of getting awful rides, but it's not like the jockey's fault.
See, you've said something completely wrong there. Okay. I think you've said he's a myth. He's always been consistent as a rock. He just never won, which is fine. Like,
he was biting horses in races and stuff.
That was He was a myth. Like,
now he's a super
horse.
He's
been running since 2016, and like
he turned around that day, Josh. That we backed him at Fleming. We backed him before, and then in run, it was over 1,200 metres down the straight. That's the day he sort of. I think he was first up, maybe the Ori Star or something it was called.
Yeah,
that's the day that I'm saying he sort of turned into this consistent galloper who's just like Sheen style, loves lines and gets there all the time.
Yeah, I think they just tried to ride it colder from then on, didn't they? Because they sort of tried to ride it more positive in the preps before that. Yeah, and it's really just something that just needs to relax and hit the line.
It's a grey up horse, though, Curls, isn't it? Because like we're saying, it's gotten back here over 600 metres. And I think we're all sort of saying 1,200, 400 is better.
I mean, obviously I don't do the form anywhere like in Melbourne, like you guys do, but obviously tune in and you just have a look at its SP profile. The last 3 starts, it's the shortest it's gone around is $20. So, for a horse that gets regularly mentioned, it does get my attention because of the price.
Yeah.
But it's weird that they haven't tried it more down the straight, like Dicko was saying. It's trained on course. Usually that helps those horses. So weird that it had that massive run and they've never tried it again. I don't think they've tried it again. They tried it once, didn't they?
Might have been first up this prep in the Ori Star.
It was in the Ori Star again.
It wasn't suited. It was badly not suited. It still ran 4th. So
now I've half plotted it to win the Cox Plate. So load up.
Is that where they're going?
No, I've got no idea.
Take it to that sprint down the straight, the VR season. Probably win.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind betting that Uncle Lindsay's setting up Akana Star for a 3rd tilt, I think, from memory, at the railway and a 4th tilt at Kingston Town back in Perth. Just looks like it's on track.
Where's he setting up Reykjavik for?
Got no idea, but it wouldn't surprise me if it joined it on the plane back to Perth. Both with WA connections, I think both would be on track.
Maybe you should ring Uncle Lindsay.
I
know you talk to him a bit and just say, hey, can I work as a strapper? Right? And then you can strap him and you can get on the cargo flight and get yourself back to Perth that way.
Either that or I'll have to dive in. I'll have to, maybe ask Uncle Puff Williams if I can jump on or even Uncle Pike, cousin Pike. He's only 2 years older than me. Can you believe that? Pike's 34.
What?
Feels like he's been around literally forever.
No.
Yeah. So we
No.
we've all wasted
No,
we've
no,
all
no.
wasted our lives.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
Got to
I
go.
thought it was like 48.
No, he's still got like 20 years to ride if he wants.
How
Like
old do you
using
reckon
all
he
these-
was, Curly?
Sorry, what was that?
How old do you reckon he was?
Geez, I thought he'd be like mid-40s.
Josh?
Yeah, probably the same.
Are you just making this up?
No. A reliable source told me that was the case. But while I'm typing that up, just to confirm, Josh, do you have a horse to follow from Caulfield?
No, I didn't love the race, but a couple of the 2-year-olds caught my attention in the first race called Anime.
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 About 2-year-olds, mate. I don't think a little bit of fat out of the meeting.
And Montasera. Chips in Montasera wherever he goes next race.
Chippy job. Oh.
Yeah. And filthy that Dirty Work didn't get a spot in the Everest.
Good. Dickens, do you have something to follow that's not 2-year-old related?
I think the 2-year-olds are quite a weak bunch, and you'd be very careful putting anything.
Oh.
To the mailbag from to you, and I'll tell you when to bet on them. Well, I've been talking to Mitch Freeman a fair bit.
How enormous did that horse go?
And like where and what he decides to do, and I'm trying to help him decide with Broadway and fourth. Like it's run the third fastest last 6 and 4 of the day, fastest last 200 meters of the day. It missed the start and looked like I helped him with the race a bit, so I was watching out of interest and a little bit like Baglioni, great name for a horse too. At yesterday at Cranbourne, like half through the race, I just thought he can't win, and then all of a sudden it's just flashing. Both of them, obviously Baglioni was ridden by the greatest pipes that probably ever graced a race course, D. Oliver, and he got it over the line to knock us off. Our horse trade $1 there, or wrong road.
Oh.
But Broadway and Force gone enormous. I don't know where he goes with it. And it's just like I've been talking to him, it's just an enigma, this horse. Like, its best ever, most dynamic looking performance was at Moonee Valley. And it's flying at Caulfield. If you were doing the form for the horse, you're just sort of saying Flemington only. Give it time to wind up. As Josh was saying with another horse,
Instant celebrity.
Like these get back run on horses, you just naturally expect this horse to be best suited at a big straight track like Flemington. But I don't know. It's flying, that horse. I'll tell you I'll give away one more.
I think there's a mares race of 1400 from memory in sometime around the carnival at Flemington. Probably suited something like that, but it might not actually. I don't know about the 1400. The 1200 might be better.
Yeah, I think 1200. Good mares, a good quality group mares race. Facedos, same one. Facedos and Bee Hunter behind Windstorm.
Oh, Bee Hunter, super run.
I like that horse a bit, Bee Hunter. Interesting to see where Sads decides to go with that horse.
Uncle Sad's looking forward to it. Curls, we're going to head up your way, but before we start reviewing Doomben, Warwick, whichever sunny coast, you did every single meeting, I think, during the week. It was just, enormous as usual. But let's start with Alligator Blood. I want to get your take on how that horse is tracking. Is it set for the grand final of the Yellow Bird?
Or has the stable, for whatever reason, all of a sudden slowed down a fair bit?
I'll start by declaring my interest in the race is that we made Alligator Blood a lay for our state of origin betting thing.
Yep.
I sort of said after his first up run that it was a barrier trial, but in saying that, he sort of never didn't do enough to impress. Like he was entitled to run the fastest last 200 of the race at the very least. He wasn't able to do that. Look, the stables, what you say, it's only been a couple of weeks. It's been 10 days. I've got a couple a few have gone under at the short quote. They won a race on Saturday. It was a big drifter. It led and it was gifted the race. But in saying that, David Van Dyke's still striking at 42% winning strike rate from his last 50 runners, so it's hard to pot. But look, we go back to focusing on Alligator Blood. Look, it's got beat by a B grader probably, has it? Flit?
Yeah, it's a pretty pooey race, let's face it.
I thought that he looked like he thought he was going to shit in at the 400. So, and then once he got headed, they just sort of fought out, but the momentum horse maintained its momentum, and they haven't run a figure, so it doesn't have to be a very good horse to maintain that momentum. I think if he was into it at the 400, it probably would have won. That's just my view. I watched it once.
Yeah. You have a look at what he did last preparation and the numbers that he was able to toss up. He's not going as good. There's no doubt about that. So not surprising to see it get beat. I heard David Van Dyke on the radio this morning, downplaying how the horse has been going all preparation, and sort of wasn't surprised that it got beat. Sort of thought it boxed on okay. I think we've all got the same opinion there. But yeah, disappointing. It should have been winning that, on the way to winning the Golden Seagull.
The sex move.
Yeah, look, anyway, it's not going as good, and that's where it's at. I don't think it could win a Seagull off that, or whatever race it's going to.
Might have to go to Bondi.
When it beat Superstorm at Flemington, they went this exact same figure just about as he went to the 600 on Saturday, but he came home 12 lengths above the all average, whereas he came home 6 on Saturday. So whatever way you cut it up, sometimes you'll see them drop their figures, and it's just because they go slower to the 600 and they can't maintain that big figure because they're just in slower races. But there's not every way you cut this up, it just looks like he's dropped back.
Yeah,
had enough.
Yeah.
All right, Jules, run us through highlights from Doomben, Warwick, wherever you like.
There's no highlights. We bet into 5 races in total over the weekend. We had 1 winner in 4 seconds. I thought the performance of the meeting at Doomben was in race 8 with Jaden Tom, 7-year-old mare, and I'm pretty confident that that's, looking at the data, she's put in a career best there. She was electric in getting over the top of them. We dissected this race on the Thursday night show, and these horses come through that Wheatwood race at Toowoomba, and she won that. I think I said on the show that, local horses suited on the track, and she sort of had the right run, best part of the track in the straight, but she's been able to do that again, which is a big effort. What did we do? We bet into race 4 at Doomben. We're on 05 Glory, took $6 at 9:10, and I think it started. What price did it start? A lot shorter than that.
$4.18 SP.
Yeah. SP $4.18 on the fair. Had the race shot to bits, I thought, at 150, and then Genzai the Wolf just burst through, somehow got underneath us and nailed us on the line, so that was a bit crook. But I think they all had their chance. No sick beats or anything like that. The staying race, that grey line one, I think there's a few on that fun fact. I sort of didn't know whether the fact was half a cat. It was disappointing. It got rolled. 3-2 Fly was one that we discussed out of the show on Thursday night, but at each ran second. Just a typical sort of Queensland meeting. Nothing.
Mate, you see, you sort of promised a bit of anger this morning. You're a bit sort of relaxed.
I'm building up to it. I'm building up to it.
Just building up the revs slowly.
Is this race 7 we're going to talk about? La Palmier, any thoughts?
Yeah, look, I've got to touch on this because, I don't mind giving a bit of commentary. I don't think there's any participants in Queensland left that actually like me at all because I have an opinion. And if you have a negative opinion, It doesn't always go down well, but I was with a couple of mates at the races on Saturday, and I was talking about betting into this race, but I just couldn't come into La Palmiere. I was a little concerned, a little bit concerned with the jock. Like, it's not a jock that I find in the metro regions as a punting proposition. Anyway, her brother must have been on track on Saturday at Warwick, because I said to me, mate, I told you can't back her, and he didn't take too kindly to it. He might have had a mistaken identity though, because I think he called me Kent. And he was right.
Cheers, I won the 1,000 guineas.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, look, we're having a shocking day. I was having a shocking day. There was a $1.65 favourite at the coast that I wanted to bet against because I thought it's slow, basically. And it's blown out the gate, and I've backed the 2 horses to beat it, the second favourite and the third favourite. And then the fourth favourite leads all the way, and we run second and third on the other bets. I was sitting at about the 75-metre mark, I suppose, at Warwick. And in the first, Moscow Now was a good bet for us. Started a lot shorter. Jockey rode it like the best horse in the race, decided to sit 5 deep in a 5-horse field from the 800. When it went past us, it was in front, so I was just clicking away there. The Surface Pro.
How good are they when the batteries last?
I think I've done about 1,500 in run on the race, because like the horse inside me, I marked about $1 billion. And we're just like the strongest stayer, so I just kept clicking. And then, everyone was cheering because we thought it would win. And then I sort of walked to the screen to see how far it won by, and the inside horses kicked back and won it a nostril. I wouldn't say it set me off, but fuck, it triggered me. It didn't help. And day only got worse from there, from a punting wise. What else we back? Colpo di Tamburo ran second after looking the winner, and then thankfully Rosie Posey won the Warwick Cup. That was good.
Posey.
Rosie Posey.
Back to back
Warwick Cups. My confidence was sort of boosted when the race caller said pre-race that the Greys have a great record in the Warwick Cup. So.
Oh, France.
I should set 4 units. Anthony Collins is a local race caller up here. He's a champion bloke, and he just threw that stat out, and that got me going. And basically after it, after it won, I just thought it's time to shut down. And it's basically,
we spoke.
I can't remember speaking to you, to be honest. Basically, the day went like this. I had about 1 million drinks. Bloke that drove us back to Toowoomba, for some reason, didn't drop me home. Dropped me to the pub. I got bounced out of the pub pretty quick. Apparently, I had too much to drink. And then when I got out of the front, there's no cabs or anything there. And I had a flat phone. I couldn't get an Uber, so I had to walk home. 5.3 kilometres from pub to door to door. I thought I'd be smart and cut through the netball park there, and those fucking plovers or whatever you call them, the white birds with the yellow beaks. The golden plover fucking started swooping me.
Maybe Georgie's brother sent it out.
Oh. And Mrs. Tips hasn't spoke to me since. Complete debacle here. And then so Sunday morning,
where's all your computers and that?
Sorry?
Where's all your computers and everything?
Yeah, old mate's car. Left me an old mate's car, Mick Reen's car. Absolute legend. Friend of the show too, Mick. Loves it. Anyway, so he's dropped them around Sunday morning, and there's a couple of horses that I was keen on Sunday. Sent the first one out. Now, here's a great tip. This is a tip I can give everyone that sort of went for betting, right? Fucking keep a handle on your statistics of trainers and jockeys and who you're backing, and understand where the bread comes from. Really important. I backed 2 trainers, like 2 good-sized bets on 2 trainers yesterday, John Holcomb and Malcolm Reynolds. Like, you've never heard of them because they don't train that many winners. They don't have that many horses in work. Ridden by Nathan Thomas and, I don't know, some other bloke, right? So they don't, not massively winning combinations, and you're having good-sized bets on these, on these horses off, one good run for the preparation, back from a spell or first career run. So, going into the last race Sunday, I was staring down the barrel. I don't know how I would have handled another losing day. And God bless Brad Stewart. Fuck, he has delivered some units to us over the first 6 months of this mailbag journey. I think he drew like 9 or 10, and he just made a decision that he was going to be 3 back the fence, and that's where he lobbed. Like, he's just such a good jockey. It's a great lesson for anyone that is punting, whether it's semi-professional or whatever, just recreational. Just know where your money's coming from, where the winners are coming from, and something I've found in Queensland is a big gaps between good trainers and good jockeys, to the average. So
I think further to that, Curls, it's not just that they're consistent trainers, it's that you have a good handle on that jockey and that trainer on how they're going to ride this horse with this setup. So then you can more accurately map a race, which is so vital.
I think so.
I think that's the big part of that. Like, you can go, like yesterday, like Ma Eustace, don't care about 60 kilos, Dr. Drill, because they're flying with their stayers. Willow from Barrier 1, he's going to kick up, he's going to land in the coffin. All he needs to do is get the thing out. It's a safer play because you can predict how they're going to be ridden.
I think we took $34. I think it started a bit shorter than that. I think it might have been 23, 24 across the totes and the fair and stuff. So that was a great result. That sort of, put us back on basically an even keel for the weekend, which was a good result for my mental health. So today I'm able to afford some flowers and an apology letter to Mrs. Tips, and we had to enjoy the week with a bit of luck.
Do you call her Mrs. Tips to her face?
Not to her face, she'd punch me. She's a lot better at what she does than what I am at what I do, don't worry. Anyway, I'm glad the weekend's over. I got a spray from a bloke on Twitter, which was really helpful too. He told me to stop being negative, and I can't remember who it was, but I do appreciate it. I needed that Sunday morning. So we're back. Hope everybody's enjoying betting in Queensland, and some of the stuff that we've copped in the last 7 days has been a great insight to what it's like operating up here. So good.
Isn't Twitter great? So you can have an opinion, but then someone, has a negative opinion towards your opinion for having an opinion. It's just like...
Oh, what about on Saturday? Yeah. Sometime, I don't know when it was. I'm getting like notifications about all like these tweets I'm in from some, probably some bloke who lives with his mum, bagging me, but I can't see what he's saying. But I keep getting notified. It's torture.
They're the best. Look, it is. I suppose, I don't know what it is. Like, you've got to have, like, I've got to have an opinion on trainers and jockeys and how things will work. Yeah, because I've got to put my hard-earned money. I've got to put my own money on it. It's not personal. It's not personal.
Yeah, that's the
by any stretch. And
you shouldn't have to articulate that it's not personal. Like when I was criticising Willie Pike, and I still half am, because that's what I do for a living. I make decisions on riders. I've not met him. I'm not bagging him as a person. Like they say, the haters. It's not hate
at all. Look, there's certain jockeys and trainers that I want to back in metropolitan races over others, and probably saying it after 40 cans or something like that at the races is probably not the right place to say it, maybe. But certainly nothing personal. But it's just punting. It's a passionate game. What the wagering, the sport of wagering is a lot more exciting than the sport of racing.
100%.
100%.
Without a doubt.
That's all from the north, mate. I've got nothing really else to add other than, like, it doesn't get any better because we've got to go to Gatton this week.
Yeah.
So, bring it on.
Yeah, you do.
Bring it on.
All right. Quick spin west, Clairvoyance. We previewed this race on Thursday, and the question was, what would the speed map look like? Well, she just jumped and strolled across. No one from the inside tried to kick up to hold her out, so it was nice of those jockeys to just make things a little bit easier. But they've still clocked a really fast tempo, and she's just completely obliterated her own personal best. Gemma's son actually recorded a new PB as well by 1.1 length, but his shall we say. To quote Luke Dayton, he said his colt balls would have shriveled up as soon as she went past him at the top of the straight. She completely and utterly fucking killed them. And she is a Group 1 horse. D-Mac half said in jest after the race on Twitter that she'd be aimed at the Everest next year. You wouldn't put it past her. She's recorded a bigger figure in WA than Showmanship recorded before he came over here. She's basically bomb-proof, and only injury or incredible bad luck will see her defeated in WA.
And she's waiting out. She's got herself right away from the Belmont.
Yeah. There's no chance of falling in a trench.
Yeah,
she's recorded a 9.8 over 1,000, and she's a better 1,200 metre horse in my opinion. That's a huge Perth figure. It's just, it's not quite Fabigino levels, but at the same time, I don't think this horse has necessarily been tested in terms of early speed so far. But it's sort of that level of excitement. Probably a bit more tractable, a little bit more bomb-proof than Fabigino. Got a few more tricks to her, I think, this horse. It's exciting. It's good to have another potential star out west. The rest of the meeting, it was just good to be back at Ascot. There's heaps of angles, all that sort of stuff, but we won't necessarily go into that because it's just good to be back at Ascot. It's just a sense of relief.
He's up and about the pistol, man, isn't he, guys?
The Belmont Trench is a thing of the past.
Exactly.
Yeah, might be something else that's got him up and about, I reckon.
Hong Kong last night finished up at 10-9. It's good. California Rad in the last. Woo! That Prince of Sussex, it's still learning. It's called Lucky Express in Hong Kong. It's gone under for, I think, the 4th time in 5 starts. 5 starts as a favourite.
Why is that? What horse is that?
Prince of Sussex. Remember, it won the Gold Rush in the showdown.
Oh, shit. That's that horse we backed at Pakenham.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Matt Laurie.
We backed this St. Curly at Pakenham's first ever start. Took I reckon, $4.50. And it started $1.60.
Yeah.
And it was just travelling. And I think TB was calling it, absolutely bolting. He hasn't even let it go yet. And then when he went to let it go, it just said, nah, fuck, I'm not interested today. Just stopped. It was torture. Then it went out and won it went up like $8 at Bendigo and they crunched it there and it pissed in. Then it won the Caulfield race. Is that the horse?
Yeah.
It won last start in at Shartin, I think.
Yeah, it did. But that's the first time it's won. It's been, I guess, it's had a few excuses in previous runs and been a little bit disappointing, I think, overall. It's still running sideways for half its races. It's just bizarre. But good to get that knocked off.
I forgot to mention, in the Queensland stuff. Remember that horse that we spoke about on the preview show a couple of weeks ago, Alert and Ready, the 2-year-old, and it fell?
Yes.
Pissed in.
It announced, it showed us on Saturday that it should have pissed in that day. Went back from the gate and settled last. Reeled off the 19th fastest last 600, the 12th fastest last 400, and the 5th fastest last 200 for the entire meeting. So anyone that was on it when it fell, after watching it on the preview show, you should feel sick.
Who's gonna win the footy this weekend, Kels?
Brisbane Lions. And who did Geelong play?
No,
Port Adelaide?
Port's playing Richmond, Brisbane's playing Geelong.
Oh, so Brisbane will beat Geelong, and I hope they I hope they smack them. I'm not a Geelong fan at all. I suppose. I don't know. I suppose Port Adelaide.
Oh.
But I don't care. Really.
I think Josh is a bit of a bandwagon Tigers supporter. Bought his membership about 2016, didn't you? 17.
Yeah. Same with the Brooklyn Nets one that I bought end of last season. Nah, Brooklyn Nets till I die, mate. Brooklyn Nets. I was a New Jersey fan.
Just from an impartial supporter's view, I hope it's Brisbane and Port Adelaide because I might get a ticket to the grand final if that's the case.
Yeah, I think they play the best brand of footy too. The best grand final.
Yeah, Port scares me, especially in Port, but I think they're genuine anyway. I think they would beat us even in Brisbane. I don't know why they're not favourites, to be honest.
Pete, you still going to follow North Melbourne next year?
I don't care anymore. The game is so irrelevant. It's so far gone that I just do not give a shit.
I watched both the rugby league games on the weekend instead of the AFL. I started on the AFL for like 5 minutes both times and thought, fuck this.
Yeah.
The rugby league game, both of them were outstanding.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah. Sorry, you go.
No, I was going to say there was one cracking game last week that it was the whatever game it was. See, I don't even remember anymore. It's already gone.
Collingwood West Coast game was like
that's
the
it.
best games of footy I've seen in a year or two. But
Yeah.
when it's not high, it's just shit.
I think because I barrack for Melbourne and have done for my entire life is it's just wearing me down, just being a Melbourne supporter. It's sort of one like highlight season every 10 seasons. It's been a little bit harder to maintain it, but I don't know. I think my kids don't really follow it as much now. They're more like it's a little bit becoming like the American sport where they know LeBron or Kobe or whoever, but they don't know who they play for.
Yeah, you follow the athlete, you follow the superstar as opposed to a team. Yeah,
like my 9-year-old who doesn't play footy himself, but he knows Dusty.
Yeah, but I think that's a more enjoyable way to enjoy sport. I'm loving the NFL now, but only because the wide receivers feeding us the grouse. She's doing an outstanding job early on.
Yeah, flying. Running at 8% pot, I think, with the Hail Mary still in play.
Now, this week, Connors, before we go, just for the live show on Thursday night, please remember this because I might forget it. I thought about keeping up my sleep, but I just don't want to forget it. Hopefully going to have the man, the myth, the wish on, or as he likes to call himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Jonathan Walsh. Make sure we ask him about his... he claims to have the record at Warrnambool College for the 1,500-metre walk. You reckon he still got it? Apparently, he rings up every year just to check. Like, did they knock me off? Every year. Can you imagine him walking? Easier to do than running, but not the walk.
Who was that? That Aussie walker that got done for the incorrect style?
Yeah, I know. He told Sydney 2000.
Was it Sydney?
Yeah, I'm talking about the female athlete.
Yeah.
She was coming into the stadium and got DQ'd. Imagine doing a sport where you only get to really do it once every 4 years and then getting DQ'd after a 50k walk, whatever it was, and you're about to win.
And then you tune into the swimming, and Eric the Eel's there getting like 3 hours to complete the race.
That was good. That was good for sport, I thought.
That was good for sport. Yeah.
Yeah, it's had a massive impact on sport overall, hasn't it? No place for that mediocrity in the Olympics, mate. Drop off, Eric. The only Eric the Eel that I remember is the one from the horse from Queensland that ran a hole in the Derby, I think.
And it's now in Hong Kong, Eric.
Is it?
Yeah. There's another one sold. Cash out at the right time, punters.
It's like suggesting that NFL is a watchable sport on television. The NFL is there to bet on. Popular opinion, possibly.
Didn't you just get told not to be negative anymore, Pills?
Oh, you can't watch the NFL. Sure. It's like watching human chess. Oh, he's moved diagonally right, left. If the wide receiver wasn't sending the grouse mail, I would have no interest. Not even a sport.
I like it. All right, week ahead. We should also say Rob Scurry's doing Mounting Yard Mail from most Wednesdays now. For this week, there's a $9.99 special, so you can get both his Wednesday and Saturday meeting for $10, which is, if you haven't tried it, get on board. He's completely dominating.
Honestly.
What?
Yeah.
I've left you in charge for a week. $9.99.
Yeah.
Get it quick. That's not going to last very long.
Just for this week. The 4-pack, so for all 4 states on Saturday, we'll do that for $40 as well. So it's $10 a meet. So should be good. Dickens, you've got the Caulfield Cup. Start watching your videos of the internationals.
Caulfield Cup this Saturday.
Yeah.
How about the field for the Blue Sapphire? $400,000 race, 3 horses. Going to be like English racing.
That's got ranting in it, hasn't it?
Ranting, Anders, and Hansi Kronya, aka Hansi Attic.
Wow.
Well, hopefully he's trying.
No,
Well, I wonder that'd be an interesting race to watch. Like, I wonder if Anders goes quick as it could, or it might go too slow and set it up for the sweeper. So we're at Caulfield on Wednesday. That means.
Yeah.
it's a pretty fat meeting. I've looked at the card. Super blue sapphire meeting.
Beautiful.
Rail out 10.
I think we're at Pakenham on Friday night for one of the first grass meetings in a while.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Maybe there's a bull meeting this week too.
On Thursday, yes.
Okay.
All right, very good. Thanks as always, guys. We'll jump on board next week.